Imagine you're in your favorite cafe. You hear the soft music playing, you smell the coffee in the air, and you see everyone's minding a little bit their business. But then this guy walks in. Instantly, the vibe changes. People pause, look up, smile, and you look at him and you see he's not even that good looking, and he's not even that well dressed, but he just has this something. And you're just sitting there. How the fuck does he do that? That is charisma. And charisma comes down to three things: presence, warmth, and not giving a shit. By the end of this video, you know exactly how to walk into any room with that same effect. Let's start with the first pillar: presence. In my early 20s, I was at this networking event talking to a guy that I really admired. But about 2 minutes in, he paused, looked at me and said, "Philipp, you're looking at me, but are you here?" I laughed. Yeah, of course, I'm here. But he was right. My mind was racing. It was like, oh, what do I say next? Am I making a good impression? I hope that he thinks that I'm smart. I was there physically, but mentally, I was miles and miles away. That's when I realized something. The most charismatic people aren't thinking about what to say next. They're fully there with you. Being present is like sitting next to a campfire. That campfire is steady, warm, and raw. Now, it doesn't try to impress anyone, but everyone still wants to be near it. That's what presence does. It makes people feel seen, important, and safe. And that's why presence is the foundation of charisma. Because when people feel safe, they open up, they trust you. So how can you be more present in really any conversation? Here's what I do. Before I walk into any room or any conversation, I take a few deep belly breaths where I feel my stomach expand as I inhale and I feel it soften as I exhale. So I do that a few times until I feel a little bit more calm. And then what I also do is I imagine roots going through my feet into the ground. I really feel myself grounding into the earth. Now that helps me also calm my mind and be more present. I know this might sound now a little bit woo-woo, but give it a try because it will make such a difference to how you show up. While presence makes people trust you, that next trait makes them like you. Which brings me to the second pillar: warmth. A few years ago, researchers at Wharton wanted to know why some people naturally build this trust and influence, while others, just as smart, quietly push people away. For that, they studied thousands of professionals and they put them into three different categories. First, the takers. Those ones were the ones who focus on getting as much as possible. Then, the matchers, who, well, they gave a little bit, but only if they got something back. And then last category, givers. Those ones were the ones who helped, shared, and supported pretty much everyone without keeping score. Before they had the results, everyone assumed that the takers would win, right? They are the ones that are ambitious, assertive, and competitive. But what the researchers found was so surprising. The takers, sure, they rise fast, but they also fall fast. People stopped trusting them. Their reputation eventually caught up. They often ended up somewhere stuck in the middle. The second group, the matchers, well, they stayed steady, liked, but not really loved. They avoided being taken advantage, but they rarely created that deep loyalty. They also ended up mostly in the middle of that success pyramid. But then, the givers, the last group, well, they ended up in two different places. At the very bottom and at the very top. The ones at the bottom were the doormat givers. They said yes to everyone, burning out, getting walked over. But the ones that were on the top, those were the smart givers. They were generous, but with boundaries. Sure, they offered their advice, they shared their knowledge, they made introductions, but they didn't do everyone's work for them. Those were the people everyone wanted to work with because they lifted others without losing themselves. And that's warmth. It's the difference between someone who impresses you and someone who moves you. And when you meet a person with that real warmth, you can feel it. They're not performing, they're not calculating, not chasing approval. They're simply giving energy, attention, presence. And that's what makes them so freaking magnetic. Because every time we meet someone new, our brain instantly scans, oh, can I trust this person? Warmth answers that question before you speak. So how do you build this type of warmth? Before I walk into any room or conversation, I do three simple things. First, I take a moment to be grateful and I say, I'm so grateful for this opportunity, right? I'm gonna learn so much. And I really try to go deep into that feeling. That gratitude shifts me from needing something to having something to give. Second, I set myself an intention where I repeat a few times in my head, I'm here to give, I'm here to give, I'm here to give. Now, that doesn't mean advice or solution. It can just be giving with my full attention. And third, I picture that person that I'm about to speak and imagine how they walk away from that conversation, just lighter, clearer, or whatever, inspired. And that tiny image shifts me from performance into service. But here's the trap. Even the warmest people, they lose their power if they care too much what others think. And that used to be me. Which brings me to the third pillar, not giving a shit. Imagine you're at a party, standing in a small group, and then someone cracks a joke. Everyone starts laughing. Except you. You're like, ooh, did I miss the joke? What did I not understand? Ooh, am I not intelligent enough? That's the exact moment charisma dies. Because when you care too much how you're coming across, you stop being with people and you start performing for them. And people can feel it. They feel it when you're not the real deal. Real charisma isn't about being impressive. It's about being unshakably yourself, even when things get awkward. Now, for most of my life, I cared way too much what people thought of me. If someone judged me, I felt it. If I've made a stupid mistake, I felt so ashamed. And if they didn't laugh at my joke, well, I'd replay it for hours in my mind. I was constantly managing how I looked, sounded, or came across. I was zero charismatic. That only changed when I did something radical to finally break that pattern. For 30 days, I put myself in embarrassing situations on purpose. For example, I'd walk up to strangers and ask them, hey, do you want to give me a hug? Or I would go into the coffee shop, find myself a cozy spot, and I'd lie down on the floor. Or one day I even went into a freaking subway and started singing for everyone. And yes, I'm a terrible singer. Each time I did those exercises, every cell in my body screamed, don't do that, right? But I did it anyway. And yes, at first it was brutal. The stares, the silence, the heat in my face. But then something shifted. Sure, it was awkward, but I started to be okay with that. I realized that it's not the end of the world if someone thinks I'm weird, crazy, or not intelligent. Every time I did one of those exercises, I taught my brain, I can handle it. That way, I stopped trying to please others, and I learned how to just show up as my real, relaxed, and full me. And there's nothing more charismatic than that. If you're still watching and you want to check out some of those weird exercises, check out the description below. There I'll link my exact 30-day challenge that I did the last time. Sure, you will hate it for the first few days, but once you do that more consistently, you'll feel unstoppable. So that's what charisma comes down to. Just focus on those pillars and people will want to be near you. Not because how you look, but because of how they feel when they are with you. See you in the next video.